Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you a really cool project, and this is Paul's project from MA. And so basically what we've got here is Paul's a good customer of ours, and he, back when we were doing some phones for him, we were doing the crank telephones, and so he's basically got the older style telephones. And the situation that he has is he has like a barn with two phones in it, I believe, another barn, and then his home. And so the most telephones he might need is 5. And I was under the understanding that he would have a main phone at a location and that he wanted to be able to pick that telephone up and then talk to a barn or maybe the other barn or an outbuilding, and he was probably going to all do this from a central location. And in a simple intercom system, because this is for an intercom system, you would have your main phone, and then I have 5 phones here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And so in a simple intercom system, you could probably have, quite a few telephones on it as long as you had the voltage and the amperage that you needed. But you would have a main phone, and I pretty much understood that he would be at a certain location, and that would be his main phone, and then somebody could ring him because he's got his bell system all hooked up already because he has magnetos on the cranks, and he has some candlesticks. So he would crank the crank or the magneto at one location, and they would all ring, and then he would be at the central location and pick up his main phone, and then he would be able to talk to whatever party from whatever outbuilding, he would be able to talk to him. The problem is you could pick up the main phone and talk to somebody, but at the main phone, let's call this the main phone here, if we pick that up and say somebody at another outbuilding picked this one up, well, they both could talk to each other. And if you had a third party and you picked this one up, they could all talk. But if these two people stay on the line and the main phone's hung up, well, we don't have a line anymore. These two people can't talk. So now he has sent this board in, and so basically he configured this board from what information I gave him. And he doesn't do this every day, but he does make boards. So he did a really good job. He's got 5 modular ports here, and he's also got hardwired connection. As you can see, he's got a jack right here off a hardwired connection. So he's all set up. He did a really cool job on that, but now what we need to do is straighten it up and reconfigure everything for what he wanted. He wanted to be able to not have a main phone somewhere, but yet have a real intercom system. If this was your main phone, it wouldn't matter, because in this configuration, you can pick up any phone you want out of all 5 of these, and it doesn't matter which one or which 2 you pick up. And so it's not any longer what you would call a simple intercom system. And so this intercom system will work with any 2 phones, or all of them, or any 3, any 4. Any way you want to talk, you can talk. And so if you're out at the 2 barns, or you have 2 phones in one barn like I believe he has, you can pick those 2 phones up. You no longer need a main phone. So all the work that you see here, now he had an extra fuse in line here, and that's not needed. We took that out. We also have a potentiometer, and in some simple intercom systems, you could use a resistor, and they do that for bringing up the amps. And so anytime the voltage goes up or down, the amps is going to go up, and vice versa. So we don't really need, in this configuration, this resistor. We don't need this extra fuse that was put into line. So we're going to move them out of the way. And we have a meter here, and I already have it hooked up to my analyzer in the back, and I'm pulling 12 volts off of the analyzer that has a DC voltage control over at the right side of the analyzer there. So what we want to do is I want to turn on my meter. We're not going to get exactly 12 volts. The analyzer is supposed to put out 12 volts, but basically it's putting out about 11.8, sometimes 11.83 in that area. And so anyway, what we want to do is we want to show you his connections. This is what he's going to make his connections to this board to a battery situation. So it would either be a regulated power supply, or it'd actually be a 12-volt car battery, or some kind of a 12-volt battery, basically. That's probably what I would use if you're going to have a lot of phones. You'd want to use some type of a regulated 12-volt power supply, or a battery that can be charged up every once in a while with a battery charger. So you might get away with a 6-volt. You just have to see how, because we're talking about older phones, and the older type phones that he has are going to pull more voltage out of the line, because it takes a little more to run them than it does some kind of a modern phone like this, and even some of these other phones. Now this is an old Princess rotary. That's going to pull some out of the line. So will this little, what they call a petite. It's like a French-style kid's phone. That's also rotary. And then we have an older style trim line, and that'll pull the line down some. And the reason why I have my voltmeter on is because I can check the voltages that it pulls out of the line. I can watch my meter go down every time I pick a phone up. So anyway, he's going to use these connections that come off of this board, and we're going to hook that up to what we're calling our power supply, which is right here, which is the analyzer's power supply. And also I want to show you any work that's been done on this board is in yellow. Okay, and then we have another line that comes out. We had 2 fuses on this board and a variable resistor. We only need 1 fuse. And we've reconfigured the board for this newer style intercom so that any telephone, or any 2 or any 3, can be used without worrying about the main phone being hung up and then cutting the other 2 off. So what we want to do now is I want to go ahead and apply power. So we'll go ahead and put our clips together. Now it's not going to pull the meter down really, because we're not on any of the telephones yet. So we have that connected, and we have 5 phones here to connect. So what we want to do, I'm just going to take this telephone, which would be probably this trim line here, and I'm going to plug it into this jack. Because if you remember, he not only has ports here, he has his connections for hardwire. So he can hardwire a jack and connect right there too. So he did a great job on this board. It just needed a little configuring for what exactly he needed. And at the first time around, we didn't really know what he needed exactly, because we thought he was going to have that main location, main phone, and then just talk out to the outbuildings. But he's got a situation where he may want to talk to another outbuilding, and then no longer is the main phone any good because it's not at that location. So we're going to start picking out line cords, and we're going to start plugging them in. We'll go ahead and plug this one in. We've got another one here we can plug in. We've got another one here. And I think one other one is floating around here somewhere. Let's see what we've got here. our last connections right here. So now we can kind of stand our board up a little bit. I'll go ahead and prop something underneath of it. And so now any of these telephones are going to be active. I could get on this main, or it's not the main phone, it's just a phone. I can get on this one, or I could hang them up and I could get on this one. And that's sending a tone out. If you pick up this one, I can hang this phone up. I could do the same thing with this telephone, or this one, and I can blow into this one or whistle, and you would hear it out of the receiver of this one, or I can hit the rotary, or I could take this one and this one, and then I can hit the rotary on this one. So now you get the understanding that no matter what two phones you use in this configuration, it's always going to work. There's no main phone that needs to be on. I can be on all of these telephones, or I can be on these two, maybe those two, maybe these two, maybe this one and this one. It doesn't matter the configuration any longer, and you don't need a main phone. Now, we're at about 11.79 on the meter, and I don't know if the video is picking up the LCD screen here. I guess we could put the light on. I don't know that that would help. There's a backlight there. And I can pick this phone up, and you're going to watch the voltage go down. It dropped it down to 1166. We'll pick this phone up. It's down to 1163. Let's pick this one up. 1156. We'll pick this one up. It's down to about 1140 something, 45. It's bouncing around a little bit. And then we'll pick up the newer style one. And so now it's down to about 1130, 1132. It's jumping around. We'll hang this one up. Hang this one up. But let's do this. Let's take them all off hook. So they're all off hook now. So we can talk on every one of them. If I press the button on this trim line and dial a number, you're going to hear it through this one. Or if I blow into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hello. We can also take this one, or I can dial this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can actually talk on all of these telephones at the same time if we chose to. Now, Paul's not going to do that. I've talked to him, and at the most, he's just going to use two phones at a time, and there might be a third phone that gets picked up. So we're not too worried about the voltage situation any longer, except for he has older telephones, so he needs plenty of talk power, really. But for the most part, he's going to pick up two phones. And now he doesn't have to worry about a main phone. He can be anywhere. There's two phones in one barn. He could be on either one of them. or he could be at the house and talk to any of the barns. He could be at a barn and then talk to another barn, and he doesn't have to worry about being at a certain location with a main phone on what would be called a kind of a simple intercom system that they show people how to hook up. So you almost have your own little phone company here, because not only can you talk on any phone at a time that you want, we could make this like your own little telephone company. What we could do is I can disconnect the power, so if you had a switch in line with a real telephone line, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take this adapter that went over to the analyzer. I'm going to plug it in. I shouldn't have disconnected this because we have that connection. I'll turn on my analyzer over here, and we have dial tone. If you watch that analyzer, it's racking off the numbers right now. Or I can pick this one up. I'll set them down. Basically, you could use any of the telephones and be on a regular line. And be on all of them. So if you had a switch where you're getting your power at for your board, and you configured the switch properly, you could push it or turn it depending on what kind of switch you had, and get your regular telephone line out. So you'd have like your own telephone company, and you'd have your intercom system. So let's say somebody at, you'd have to be at the central location where your power is, but what would happen is, if you were at that location and somebody contacted you from one of the outbuildings or something, they could say, hey, I need to make a phone call real quick, and my battery's dead on my cell phone. Can you go ahead and hit the switch, or the person that's closest to wherever this equipment's going to sit, they could call them and say, can you go over there and, turn the switch or push the switch and give me a line out, a real telephone line out. And they could be at whatever building they chose and dial a line out and make their phone call, and then when they're done, they can always push or turn the switch back over to what would be battery power. And that's what we'll do right now. I'll go ahead and take it out of this analyzer, put it right back into battery power. See, we won't get a dial tone because we're on intercom now. One simple plug, and that might be the way you might want to do it. You could have a simple plug-in like this, and then just plug right on over to a regular line, and I'm calling my analyzer a regular line. Dial tone. Now they can dial out. I can actually call a time and temp number because I push my button on my switch box, which actually does give me a real line out, and we'll call that. There's some dial tone. Now there will be a hum in this recording.
Good evening. Today is Sunday, October 6th. The time is 7:30. Current temperature at 59 degrees.
Cooler today, partly cloudy skies, then becoming mostly sunny, a chance of showers, highs around 60, mostly cloudy this evening, a chance of showers, lows in the mid-40s to the 50s, partly cloudy on Monday, highs in the mid-60s.
Okay, so we can hang up. I can pull my line, plug it back into the battery. So this is no longer just a simple intercom system. This is an intercom system that's configured so all the telephones connected to it can work, and they can also work on a regular line by what we did with a simple connection back and forth from battery power to a regular telephone line out. And so that's what's cool about this configuration. This is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.